What has simultaneously gotten worse and more expensive? Big Macs. That burger patty is a stone's throw away from being a slice of roast beef. Cable/internet providers. Oh yes, sorry, your trial period was over. Your bill went up $200. Oh no, we didn't promise you 200 MB/s download speed constantly. We said up to. Read the fine print. D. Up to 50 Mbps. Not our problem if we tear down another hotspot and your internet goes from a barely usable 500 kbps to something that timeouts web pages. A nice 50 kbps. You'll get that sweet 90s nostalgia. 600 ping is bothering you. Nah, that's perfectly acceptable. Oh, and also we're doubling your bill. Fuck you. Oh, and don't even think about any other provider. They just happen to have the exact same speeds, coverages and prices. No cartel here. Cable television. More commercials. Channels upon channels of crap. Ridiculous bill. I remember when you could watch a show on cable without any commercials. That was its big selling point. I remember when MTV was music and the History Channel didn't normalize conspiracy theories. Network decay is a scourge forced on consumers by sociopathic bean counters with no morals, ethics or integrity. Oh man. The Learning Channel was probably the furthest fall. 25 years ago. It was literally a channel for nerds. Like 30-minute programs of a professor explaining a math problem. Now, it's just white trash having conflicts because it's profitable. I call it the Jerry Springer model. That's why they rebranded as TLC. It was no longer a place for learning. It's weird. It used to be so educational. Then Discovery came along with more infotainment. And TLC was all hold my beer. It sucks too. I really loved the channel as a kid. I geeked out on everything and the family always watched the operation together. Now I don't think I'd watch anything on it, but God help me, I can't explain why, but I frickin' love the gold mining shows on Discovery. History Channel used to be awesome too. I mean, at its height it may as well have been called the World War II channel. But it was awesome. I remember it specifically as the Hitler and Jesus channel. So many Hitlers. So many Jesuses. I swear that Reese's peanut butter cups have gotten shittier over the years. The peanut butter seems chalkier and the chocolate tastes blander. Plus I can't ever seem to pry them out of that little cup wrapper without leaving the bottom chocolate skin stuck to it. I think the push to put them in the freezer and eat them chilled is a ploy to cover the declining quality. I just buy the cheap store brands since they use thicker chocolate and better peanut butter. Aldi has some amazing mini peanut butter cups. They blow Reese's out of the water. Aldi feels like the one true contradiction of our consumerist times. Everything there is basically a cheap knockoff brand of another product. And yet it all tastes so much better than the original. Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know if it's just me, but their prices have gone up and the quality has gone down. Restaurants follow this pattern. Mid-high tier national franchise restaurants trends: Panera, Five Guys, Chipotle, Buffalo Wild Wings. It's the place to be. The food's good and priced reasonable. Years pass. Food still good but slightly more expensive. Years passed. Food had degraded noticeably in quality, but because of the established brand they charge the same if not raise prices slightly. People still go but begin mumbling. Years pass. Food is a shell of its former self at prices higher than ever before. No one eats there anymore, but they might scrap by because if they sell one meal they paid rent. This is Panera Bread right now. And this has been their timeline. Edit. Five Guys is and always has been consistent quality. Panera used to be the shit. In college, my friends and I practically feasted on bread bowls. Now I just don't go. Smaller portions. Stale bread. Poorly made soup. Such a shame. I thought the soup had gotten more watery over the years. I think this thread has really confirmed my Panera suspicions. I worked at a Panera Bread 2 years ago. Nearly all the bread stuff is cooked at night and sold during the day. All the soup cones frozen in bags and is reheated. I'm just wondering where in the production line they would have a loss in quality over time. When I worked there, I always used to say if I needed to defend myself, I would use one of the frozen soup bags to whack someone. Those things were crazy. As someone shopping for a house, I have to say homes. Not only has the real estate market been ridiculously inflated, especially in NYC, my residence, I'm finding that the actual quality of a lot of these homes are absolute shit. Due to the ability to find and source cheap materials and labor, developers are able to make huge profits off high prices and low costs. It's making me really rethink if I want to buy a house, or just use all that money to aggressively invest. It's not just NYC, or cities in general. I live in a rural town about an hour from the nearest 100K city. And home prices are ridiculous compared to local wages. Most of the homes around here are bought cash only, because banks won't even finance them due to the general condition: roofs 20 years old, shoddy wiring, etc., without spending a fortune in repairs. For something the banks will look at, with 3 bedrooms and 1,500 SQFT or so, you're looking at 250K. Even in the worst parts of town. That's with a median household income in the area under 40K. So yeah, I know it costs a lot in the city. But even in areas that were considered low cost of living not very long ago, the cost isn't so low now. I just saw an article that minimum wage can't pay for average rent in a single US state. Wage stagnation has screwed 99% of us. And now the biggest landlords are hedge funds. You can't get a crack house in LA for less than 700K. Edit. I didn't look it up and got the stat wrong. Rent is unaffordable in every single state in America. There is not a single state, county or metropolitan area in the U.S. where a minimum wage worker can afford a modest 2-bedroom rental without spending more than 30% of their income. And full-time minimum wage workers cannot afford to rent a modest 1-bedroom home in 95% of U.S. counties. Clothes. Very few companies make clothes to last, and fast fashion is rising while the cost of items continue to increase. Privacy and anonymity. Scented candles. Yankee Candle in particular used to be the candle that was considered premium. But while they've never been cheap, at least a while ago it was worth the money. But now they're just exorbitant in price. They don't smell like they used to. And they are not worth the money. Yankee sold out. Kringle Candle is the original family making candles again. Thanks for the info. Photo booths. Oh, the old ones were so cool. 4 different real photos for $1. Now you pay $7 for 4 identical bad laser prints. Just wait until you try to book one for a wedding. $1,500 for an iPad on a stick with a ring light and printer for 4 hours. This is why we bought all the supplies and just made one ourselves. Super easily. Literally bought a backdrop and frame. All the fancy lighting. Props. Tablet stand. Color printer. And even the little clicker thing to press when to take the photo. All of that off of Amazon. For less than one-third the price we were quoted to rent one from a company. And now we have a photo booth, lol. We can be that cool couple that can bring a whole photo booth set up anytime we're invited to our friends' weddings, parties, events, etc. Do what they did and charge people to rent it? You can lowball all of the other companies and still make your money back your first renter. People outside the UK probably won't care, but the Christmas tins of Quality Street. Canadian here. Yes, we do care. When Quality Streets go on clearance after Christmas, I stock up so I have some last until the following Christmas, not that they last until then. Firstly, you are my chocolate hero. I doubt I could make them last past late Jan. Secondly, have the switch to the depressingly small plastic containers in Canada. I want my giant metal tins back. My university education. Specifically this year, they are raising tuition and fall semester has no in-person sessions. I don't envy college students during this crisis. I would be pissed. Especially if I had a major dependent on university facilities, labs, etc. I honestly would highly consider a gap year or two. College kids of Reddit. Are any schools offering a gap year as an option? Colleges don't offer gap years. You just don't register and then come back. You'll probably have to reapply. I can't imagine they wouldn't let you back in unless you were basically already failed out. The only other option is to take a leave of absence so they know you're coming back, but they usually are only for one semester. My school requires you file a leave of absence to hold your scholarship from the university, and the leave can only be for up to a year. Some programs at my school also require a year leave, not a semester, based on course sequences.